That's a direct object.
That's a genetic fallacy.
That's a direct object.
Genetic fallacy to say that because
not a
scientists
genetic
make this
fallacy.
It is.
I'm a logic professor.
You just said I don't know. So appeal
Literally.
to yourself. Right?
No.
Appeal to authority. Appeal to authority. Genetic fallacy. Do you
missed
another fallacy?
They believe.
You're a king of fallacies.
They
Like,
explore.
For the record, we agree.
It doesn't say they believe. You're lying. You added that. Where does it say they do that?
Read the sentence.
It says that they seek release and they have recourse to God in confidence and love.
They seek.
They have recourse.
They seek.
No, and have recourse.
They seek.
And have recourse.
Okay. So
and
what he's
does
doing.
Does it say and recourse?
Finish up.
And recourse.
Finish up.
What does that mean, recourse?
They have they seek in God.
They can attain salvation.
Confidence and love in God.
I'll
in Hinduism.
I'll speak once he's done. So what the
Hinduism.
Vatican II document said, I was very honest about.
By the way,
this.
it's a genetic fallacy
Written
to say
in-
that.
Can I see the book?
Yeah.
Yeah. Read the sentences.
This paragraph right here.
Because
Let me read it
Vatican
again.
II.
Let me read it again for you.
I was this close to getting the book.
In the religion,
Jay's just gonna keep
in the
reading.
religion of Hinduism, people explore the divine mystery.
Explore.
Thank you. I just said that.
This
You wanna
doesn't mean they
you wanna
found it.
repeat each word after I say each word?
But have you said ascertained? If they said ascertained, we'd have a
Are you
hard
gonna let-
time.
so he doesn't want me to read the whole quote because he knows the later.
No.
The
Keep
later
going.
part is
And then let me
what
talk.
he's saying.
The difference between
Hindu-
seeking
stop.
and finding is very real.
They have recourse to God in confidence and love.
No, they don't. Start the sentence over. They seek. Jay thinks that the sentence said that Hindus have
That's the first part
ascertained
of this.
the truth.
It says
they haven't
that-
ascertained it.
It
They're
says
seeking.
that through.
They're exploring it.
Now, but you said it was a bad statement earlier.
No. I said
No,
that's,
it's not.
That's from.
Can I see it?
Read the document. I'm saying that it's very easy to misinterpret if I say my
When it
my
says-
dear old Uncle Remus
Why do we
believes
need-
that he can
let me-
flap
Why
his
do we
arms
need
and
you to
fly.
interpret the document?
You're saying
read
that.
this.
Why do we need you to interpret the
I need
document?
you to
right.
interpret the document.
What? That's
Let
a
me
too
read-
quick
let
way.
me-
You're
Walkway
giving-
again. The logic professor keeps making fallacies over
got
and
you.
over.
You asked me what
Let me read it.
I thought it
Why
meant.
do you need to
go ahead.
interpret them?
Let me read it. There's a paragraph before that one. I just want to read the full paragraph.
Good.
Or actually, this is part of the full paragraph. It says, throughout history to the present day, there is found among different peoples a certain awareness of a hidden power, which lies behind the course of nature and the events of human life. At times, there is present even a recognition of a supreme being, or still more of a father. This awareness and recognition results in a way of life that is imbued with a deep religious sense. The religions which are found in more advanced civilizations endeavor by way of well-defined concepts and exact language to answer these questions. Thus, in Hinduism, people explore the divine mystery and express it both in the limitless riches of myth and the accurately defined insights of philosophy. They seek release from the trials of the present life by ascetical practices, profound meditation, and recourse to God in confidence and love. Buddhism, in its various forms, testifies
Recourse to God
to
in
the
confidence and
essential
love.
inadequacy of this changing world. It proposes a way of life by which people can, with confidence and trust, attain a state of perfect liberation and reach supreme illumination either through their own efforts or with divine help. So, too, other religions which are found throughout the world attempt in different ways to overcome the restlessness of people's hearts by outlining a program of life covering doctrine, moral precepts, and sacred rites.
Yeah. This
Is
is
there perfect liberation in Hindu and Buddhism?
Now, real quick, I do want to read just a little bit. I did want to read the one paragraph. There's a little bit more that I think is interesting.
You already said it's bad.
It goes
Worded.
on.
You said it was badly worded.
insinuative
It now answers
because
this.
people like
Then
you
it's
go ape
oh,
shit.
so
Now-
people
it
like
now
me, right?
directly
So again,
answers
another
the
fallacy
sentence.
ad hominem, ad hominem.
So it actually
five
says here-
fallacies, Tim. Good job.
It actually says here.
Do we have a mute button?
Immediately following.
Yeah, because he's calling out. I'm calling out the
guys.
logic professor's fallacies.
I just want to point out that by that. Okay.
Sorry to do it. But immediately following this paragraph, it says, the Catholic Church rejects nothing of what is true and holy in these religions.
There it is.
It has a high regard for the manner of life and conduct, the precepts and doctrines which, although differing in many ways from its own teaching, nevertheless often reflect a ray of that truth which enlightens all men and women. Yet it proclaims and is in duty bound to proclaim without fail Christ, who is the way, the truth, and life. In him, in whom God reconciled all things to himself, people find the fullness of their religious life.
Thank you. I was going to
I
ask
don't
for
know-
the
I don't
book
know
so I
what you
could
think.
read that.
All that shows is
feel
a
like-
contradiction.
No, no.
That doesn't help you
I
out.
actually agree with the Catholic view. It's basically saying the way I interpret that is to saying Hindus and Buddhists are looking through a keyhole and seeing these fragments, that they're not quite understanding properly. And
Right.
if they were to adhere to Jesus Christ and find the way,
Precisely.
The
what
problem
it's
is
saying.
not-
and that's
the
precisely
problem-
what all
no,
the even
that's
non-liberals at the
false.
council
The problem
said it meant.
is that only
It's written by
in
liberals.
John 14, Jesus says that he's the only way, right? The way,
course.
the truth, and the life.
it says that.
No, but
says
I
that.
understand that the problem is that you cannot. It says in the religions of Hinduism and in Buddhism, men find love in God, and they find.
No, they seek love.
No, it says they find it.
They believe they
one
seek it.
phrase says seek it, then it says they find it. Just like it says.
Read it again.
Just like it says Muslims adore the one God.
No,
Do
it says
is
they-
adoration.
Well,
Is that
Muslims are different because they're
No, they're
Western
not.
religion.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are. Do they
What's a
believe
Western religion?
Do they believe in one God or multiple?
They believe in monotheism.
Vatican
don't
II
believe in
says the
Trinity.
Does
monotheist.
the Bible teach?
Of course, they don't
does the
believe in
Bible
Trinity.
teach the Trinity or monotheism?
the Trinity?
Oh,
But
so then Muslims don't believe in the God of the Bible.
do you know what the sense or reference
Wait,
dichotomy
I do
is?
know that, yeah.
Okay,
I do.
so
I have a question for you.
So if you understand what sense reference dichotomy
What is Jesus- okay,
we can
so
be referring to the
does Jesus
same
say-
thing.
does Jesus
you
say-
describe it as yellow, I describe
about
it as
the
red,
Pharisees?
and we're still
Does
referring
Jesus
to the
say
same
that the
thing.
Pharisees
You're
worship-
misunderstanding the
So
sense
you
reference
won't-
dichotomy.
Does Jesus think that the Pharisees accurately worship the Father?
No, then
that undoes your argument about Muslims.
No.
It
Okay.
undoes your Muslim
Explain,
argument.
because you said you understand the sense reference dichotomy. Explain how by sense
Word concept
the answer
fallacy.
is affirmative, and by reference it would be a negative answer. We can be referring to the same thing. If you think Cleveland is
It doesn't
Cincinnati
matter.
and I think
You want me
it's
to disprove your
Cincinnati,
sense referent argument?
and we're not that.
Do you want me to disprove your sense
Just
referent
answer the
argument?
question.
I can disprove it by
Sense
by
reference.
Mormons.
Sense reference.
Do Mormons believe in Jesus?
No, but Mormons don't believe
No.
he's the
Do
Son
they
of
use
God.
the term Jesus?
No.
Yes, they.
Yeah, they do.
Mormons
They're
don't use the term
Mormons
Jesus.
absolutely use the
You're
term
an idiot.
Jesus. It's in
Mormons
their
use the
church
term
name.
Jesus.
Wait. No.
Do Mormons
Mormons
use the term
believe
Jesus?
Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day
Mormons
Saints.
believe
Meltdown.
Jesus is well, I'm the one guy that hasn't been interrupting. So Mormons believe
serious?
that there was a historical Jesus. He believes that Mormons
Do
believe
they
that
use
Jesus
the
was
term
not the
Jesus
Son of
Christ?
God.
I know
Yes,
what they
of course,
believe.
Of
It's the
course.
name of their religion.
So just like Muslims, if they say I believe in the one God, it's the quantifier shift fallacy.
No, that's true.
It's the
That's
true.
But that's what the
Well,
document
thank you.
is
If it's the
representing.
quantifier shift fallacy, then that undoes what.
what does that mean? What does that mean?
So it's like if I say I have one mother, you have one mother. We all have one mother, therefore we come from the same mother. It's a quantifying shift fallacy. So one God, well, we all believe in one God, therefore it's the same God. Vatican II is using the quantifier shift fallacy.
Read the line. Read the line that you think is false definitively. Because there are no definitive statements you've read that are false.
Notice that.
Seeking, searching, exploring.
Why do we need
My uncle
all of this? Why
believes
do
he
we
can
whole lot
fly.
like bias?
This
We
is
need to be-
retarded.
I
This is
think-
So
retarded.
the quantifier shift fallacy is retarded.
I think. Okay, guys.
No.
Let me say this.
The claim that there's something false you just read is retarded.
Okay, let me.
It's written by liberals.
Okay.
Do
I
either
gave
of
you that
Wait
at
a
the
minute.
beginning.
It's written by liberals, but it's supposed to clarify. So the
have a
papacy
question.
does the job of clarifying,
I-
but it's written by liberals, and we need Tim to interpret it for
You
us.
don't need me to interpret anything.
what- you said
I'm
it's ambiguous.
defending
Hardest
against an
things are two
attack that
Tims.
you're making that's common.
Muslims
and
worship the
mischaractered.
one true God, living and subsisting in Himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Quantifier shift fallacy.
They don't
That's
say
a
it.
pretty tough one to get through.
Quantifier shift
I'm
fallacy.
dealing with two barking
It's
dogs
a-
every
I see that.
time.
It says
Muslims
I'm
claim.
barely talking,
How about
man.
this? Muslims claim to believe in one God.
It doesn't say. It says they adore. It doesn't say they claim.
Muslims do
You're
adore
adding
one
the
God.
words.
Now,
they adore
by
the.
the
It
sense
says
reference
the.
dichotomy.
He's right. It
It
does
says
say
Muslims-
the.
Okay, wait. Hold on. I'm gonna read this.
Tim.
I want to read this.
Yeah, read it.
This is important. It says the church also has a high regard for the Muslims. They worship God who is one, living and consistent, merciful, and almighty.
Precisely.
What I say.
Wait,
Precisely.
I'm
That's
not
what
done.
I said.
I'm not done.
Let him finish
I'm
reading.
not done.
Dishonest.
I'm not done. The creator of heaven and earth, who has also spoken to humanity, they endeavor to submit themselves without reserve to the hidden decrees of God, just as Abraham submitted himself to God's plan.
Just like Abraham.
And whose faith Muslims eagerly link to their own. Although not acknowledging him as God, they venerate Jesus as a prophet. His virgin mother they also honor, and even at times devoutly invoke. Further, they await the day of judgment and the reward of God following the resurrection of the dead. For this reason, they highly esteem an upright life and worship God, especially by way of prayer, alms, deeds, and fasting. It does seem like they're saying, as far as I can tell, Muslims are worshiping the same God.
Yes.
Well, yes,
Which
this
they're
is a
objectively
community college primer on intro to religions and
You
nothing
mean how
more.
you couldn't get quantifier shift
Islam,
fallacy?
It's in your
Islam is literally one of the three monotheisms in Western religion. Is it triune? No. So by
Oh, it's
sense-
not the God of the Bible
Hold on.
according to you.
By
You said the Bible God is the Trinity.
no.
Yes, you did.
Well, of course. You don't think I think the Bible God is the Trinity?
Then the Muslims don't worship the same God because of the quantifier shift fallacy.
The Muslims don't worship the same God. It
book
doesn't
says
say
they
the
do.
same God as us.
The book
Thank
says
you.
they do.
Thank you.
No, it
Thank
doesn't.
you.
Can
He
you
just
read it
said
again, Tim? They don't worship the same God.
Muslim. Are you serious?
What's going on here? How are we having this discussion?
They worship God, who is living and subsisting in Himself.
Same. We're
the
same.
merciful, Almighty Creator.
No, you said the same God as us. As us.
It
as
is
you and
saying
I.
us.
No, it doesn't say us.
Oh, so it doesn't say us. Are you serious?
Dude, Muslims
Sophistry?
worship. How
This
many
is why we left.
gods do Muslims
This is why
worship,
we
Jay?
left.
Does
Jay,
it say?
Jay Dyer, how many gods do Muslims worship?
worship-
Most
read
How
this
many
again.
do they
Never
worship?
had.
By the way,
One or two or three?
I don't believe in generic monotheism. That's a word that
that's
exists
a distinction.
in the 1600s.
I also don't agree. I believe
Tim,
what you're
it's the
saying.
quantifier shift fallacy.
One thing for certain is
fine.
the Muslims.
Can you tell me how
You
it's
don't
not?
believe that they believe they worship one
It
God.
doesn't matter because the statement is that
You said
they
you
do.
understood the sense
They
reference
do
dichotomy.
worship
They do worship.
the one true God, Tim.
So what you're quibbling
you're
over
failing.
is whether or not
You're melting
the
down.
verb and the
Hey,
direct
can I
object
see it?
there
We don't need a
are
grammar
in
lesson.
agreement.
We don't need a grammar lesson.
Literally, you do need a grammar lesson.
No,
you
I-
do.
Okay, let me.
You're a
okay,
logic
okay.
professor. You couldn't do the quantifier shift fallacy.
hold
This
on.
guy doesn't know that Islam claims to worship one God.
It doesn't say they
Okay,
just
okay,
claim
okay.
it. It says they do.
It
Tim.
says they worship God, not they worship
you.
a God.
Well, the church, the Roman Catholic Church, has always acknowledged
This is the Roman Catholic Church.
since Pius X, since two different medieval popes, that Muslims
That's why it's a contradiction.
worship in some
That's
sense
why
the
it's a
same God,
contradiction.
different reference.
Tim, no.
Simple
Grammatically,
fact.
grammatically, this is very straightforward. They worship God, not a God. They worship God.
And even the
capital
one true
G,
God. The
who
church
is
taught in
one-
the medieval
don't,
church.
Tim.
They
one true
worship God, who is one living and subsistent,
Could you
merciful and
read-
almighty.
I'm not quibbling with the
creator of heaven
Protestant and
earth,
Orthodox.
who has
I'm just
also
saying what the
spoken
church
to
has always
humanity.
taught.
That is them saying
Well, could
they
you
worship
address-
our God.
Could you address the argument then?
Well,
how does
guys,
the quantifier
The argument
shift
is
would
the
be-
church
you would be
never
right if it
changed
said
its
a
teaching
God.
on Islam.
Tim, you would be right if
That's
it said
the
a
argument.
God.
The argument is what?
I can read you from the personal Pius
minute.
X Catechism that
I
he
know.
says the one true God.
Tim,
You might have
it's
issue
wrong.
with
Wait,
that.
okay,
It's
let's
wrong.
pause real quick, real quick.
It doesn't
I'm
represent
I'm
a change.
arguing
guys,
that
guys,
it's
okay,
wrong.
okay, guys,
Fair.
real quick.
But it doesn't represent a
just-
change.
Okay, we're not.
It doesn't represent
doesn't
a
re-
change.
Okay, guys, we're
What
not.
about praying in
the
mosque?
conversation is not advancing.
Can I ask one question?
This conversation hasn't
I wanna
advanced in
say
a
one
1,000
thing.
years.
It's not. I think it's actually been pretty good actually. What I interpret from that is that they were trying to say there is one true God, and even in that regard, they're saying other religions are seeing it improperly and doing it wrong. Like the argument is you look through a keyhole.
Right.
I think that's what it's saying. It's saying
That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying.
Muslims are looking through a hole and they're seeing something tiny and they're not doing it right.
Right.
Hindus are looking through a different hole. So I think the argument of Vatican II is there is only one true God. Everyone else is just looking at it wrong.
Right.
problem-
Written by Jesuits
also-
who are very
also-
liberal.
So see now,
they're
now it's bad
insinuating
again. Now
that.
it's
Their
bad
church
again.
created the Jesuits, by
Now
the
it's
way.
bad again.
That was on them.
So from the Orthodox perspective,
Yes, the Jesuits are Catholic.
From the Orthodox perspective,
Newsflash.
You just
Protestant
complained
says
about the
Jesuits are
Jesuits.
Catholic.
From the
You just
Orthodox-
complained about them and said they're too liberal.
Yes, that's a
What's-
well-known Catholic
what is it,
position.
So
Episcopalian?
Catholics can be too liberal and it's
Is it-
fine.
is it
Protestants,
the
though.
Episcopal Church where they have
yeah,
like,
they have an
gay women?
ecclesiology still.
That's
We also have
Guys,
Transvestite.
No.
Transvestite.
But I got a question.
Because I say
we're not
that
going back.
the
to this.
Jesuits
You're just
trend
objectively
liberal, it
incorrect.
doesn't
Okay,
mean
guys,
that they're
guys.
Protestants
Can-
like you.
Well, you also expelled them
okay,
because
okay.
they were too liberal.
Okay,
So.
is the one
for
thing
less
y'all
than
can
20
agree
years.
on is that the Episcopal Church is the inferior church?
The Episcopal Church sucks.
Do you all agree?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
agree with that for sure.
Sure.
So I want to highlight too that I think Tim will have to admit this, that post Vatican II, we can see the actions of the papacy, how they interpret this document, because they in many cases literally will go pray in mosque towards Mecca. Benedict XVI did it. Also, John Paul II did it. Benedict XVI and Francis both did this, where they went to the mosque, they reverently prayed towards Mecca. That's an outward expression of the interior disposition in Roman Catholic moral theology of their faith.
No, that's
So the
bad.
way that
It's
they-
bad.
they're-
It's not dogmatic. That's
Vatican II is not dogmatic?
no. Vatican II is dogmatic. The Pope's going and praying.
I'm
somewhere
saying
stupid,
that it expresses
like
their
a mosque.
action. It expresses their faith. That's
As the
all I'm
Patriarch
saying.
of Constantinople.
I think
made plans
he's
to
a
do
heretic.
this?
I don't have a problem saying he's a heretic.
Okay.
but you can't say that. You can't say the Pope's a heretic.
Francis was a material heretic. We don't know yet if he's a formal.
No
heretic.
one judges the first see. Do you?
No one has judged the first see yet.
Who
But
can?
You're judging it now.
the Cardinals could.
Canon 7.
Oh,
Cardinals.
wait,
hold on.
wait,
Canon,
so-
Canon 750 says that laity do not have the right to judge the bishops in the sees.
I'm not judging him. That means
You just said
to
he's
lay
a material
decree on
heretic.
them. A material heretic
He's not
and a formal
formally judging him.
I know what it means.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
formally
You don't have authority, but it also means that you don't. It says that you have to submit with docility to the rulings of the ordinary teaching.
Of course. That's not
Then
a
you don't
teaching.
get to
That's
say-
an action.
then
We
you don't
can
get
say
to
that
say
this is in conformity
sophistry.
with the liberal view,
let me just-
with the liberal
Then you don't get to
misinterpretation.
judge the
All
first
right.
seed.
You can't just talk over
all right,
everything.
let me
Did the
throw
council
something
judge
in there.
The intentional liberal misinterpretation of those passages you read, which
So
I think
Vatican-
Tim interpreted.
so the papacy
Which
doesn't
Tim
clear anything
interpreted
up.
correctly.
So
I'm
can
gonna
be
say this.
taken by popes and made mince of.
I'll just say this real quick. That which I read is more convincing to me of the Catholics.
Well,
I would agree if not
you-
for the fact that it says Muslims worship the same God. as
Correct.
us.
I
It
think
doesn't
that- I
say
think
same
it
God.
does.
He
But-
checked
but-
it.
No, hold on.
Jay, does it
it
say
says
same?
the same. Yes,
It doesn't say the word same.
It doesn't
Okay, but hold
literally,
on. Are you
it doesn't
serious?
literally
Says the one
say
God.
the same,
Okay,
but
guys,
it does
guys.
grammatically say
Who's
the
making
same.
shit up?
Who's the creator, Tim?
Wait.
Who's the creator?
I
Does
think
it
it's
say
correct.
same?
It
Who's
says
the
God.
creator?
It says they
I-
worship
we'll check
God.
it.
Capital
Who's
G.
the creator?
People out there,
pronoun God.
does this passage.
Who is
don't
the
just yell into
creator?
the microphone if no one else is, if people keep talking. I think it's correct.
Okay, but
I think Muslims do worship God.
They don't.
they don't. But
Not our
do.
God.
So he already admitted.
And so
But that says capital G God.
that's why this is convincing to me, and you guys aren't being convincing to me.
But
I'll tell you why.
Again,
Can
if
I
it said
explain why
a
they
God,
don't?
if it said a God, I'd agree with you. But it says
Because
God,
I think-
a formal
You believe
title.
there's a God besides God?
I think there is one
That's
God.
the sense reference dichotomy right there.
So-
So you believe there's another God besides God?
so the popes pray in
You just said you believe they
You
worship
actually
one God.
hear what I said.
Okay,
said
hold
a
on.
God.
We
I
can't
said
just-
if it said they worship a God, as
This is
in
important.
they believe they're worshiping a God who is similar
No,
to
no,
our
not
God.
they believe. They really do. Remember, that's the
Tim,
key. Wait.
his
We're talking
argument.
about your text, dude.
It's your text.
Yeah, you literally. I know it's my text. You literally
I agree
said
with it.
what would make all the difference is if they said that the Muslims worship a God rather than a God. You're making reference to the sense reference
No,
dichotomy
he's
by
correct.
saying a.
No.
it's not
That's
right.
why you couldn't answer the
Because
qualifier
they
shift
can't-
fallacy.
No,
Okay,
you're,
okay,
you're,
hold on.
you're
Worship a
either not
non-existent
understanding
God.
what I said or you're
You're not
deliberately
understanding his
misrepresenting
argument.
what I said.
I'm not deliberately misrepresenting anything. I'm saying
Then
that
you don't understand what I said.
the sense reference dichotomy literally covers whether
the
or
word
not
concept
they say
fallacy.
God
We
or
don't need to go
a
to sense
God.
reference dichotomy. This is grammar.
Well, do
Okay,
you know
okay,
what it is?
Yes. Okay, guys.
This
okay.
is grammar.
It's a
Tim Pool
grammatical
understands it.
distinction.
Tim understands it's the same God.
He is not.
But
not
it
saying
doesn't
that simply
say
because
same
they.
as
It does. It
It
says
says they
creator.
worship God, capital G God.
I'm going to quote my friend Jay Dyer, who says that this passage says same God, not one God.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon. So subscribe and come hang out.